the unknown. So dip inside your soul and dig a little deeper. Unlock the unknown. Discovering the truth will make you feel freer. Like a raging bull gives pain. Mysteries are hurricanes. The truth you seek is unbeknown. Unlock the unknown.
I won't accept it, what the skeptics even have to say. They disconnected, redirected, and it's so cliche. So much evidence is building up in our possession. So many elements conclude the answer to this question. From the page of myth to actuality, to unlock a locked door, where's the magic key?
Unlock the unknown. So dip inside your soul and dig a little deeper. Unlock the unknown. Discovering the truth will make you feel freer. Like a raging bull gives pain. These mysteries are hurricanes. The truth you seek is unbeknown. Unlock the unknown.
You have 77 counties in Oklahoma. We put reports in them, 66 counties.
Every tribe has a name for each thing. In Cheyenne, it's massive misstep, which means giant monsters.
These are some of the best cast footprints that I've seen in a very, very long time.
North Canadian River Project, we basically focus our investigations on the North Canadian River or central Oklahoma.
What is up, Squatch Ranger YouTube channel subscribers and viewers? Welcome back to another special episode of Squatch Ranger Files, Old Railroads. I've done a mini-series, a 3-part series of how Bigfoot could be traveling from the Rockies through the Plain States down to the southeastern part of the United States. And we've discussed the railroads. We've discussed the river systems, and we also discussed the power line cutouts. Well, I had some great feedback. I had some positive feedback, and I appreciate everybody that comments on the Squatch Ranger YouTube channel and the Facebook page. And I would like to give a shout out to the Red Dirt Cryptids page, Facebook page. Here's the Facebook page right here. I recommend that you give it a like or join their group. And those guys over there actually gave me a suggestion for a new video. We need to explore the idea of Bigfoot traveling the old abandoned railroad systems. So the guys over at Red Dirt Cryptids sent me some old maps, and I took a look at them and I thought, hey, let's make a video. So I found a Google map called Abandoned and Out of Service Railroad Lines. They have a website, www.abandonedraillines.com. I will provide a link in the description of this video. It's a Google Drive map. You can save it onto your Google Drive. And these guys did a great job of outlining the old abandoned railroad systems. So let's take a look. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to focus in on the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. From our past videos, we talked about the Trinidad, Colorado area. I'm just going to focus in on this mountain range. This is up in the Colorado area. And you can see the blue outline of where the old railroad systems are supposed to be. So I thought I would just focus in and see what we could actually see there. And as you zoom in closer and I get a tighter shot on it, we're going to see the rail lines and the railroad ties are still there. It looks like it could still be used, but according to this service, this is an abandoned railroad system. And so what I'm seeing here is this is a perfect cutout, a perfect path through a mountain chain that Bigfoot could definitely be traveling and be undetected, especially if there's no railroad trains traveling through the area. They have this all to themselves. Okay, so now I'm just kind of going to go across the plains here, and I'm going to focus in on this little canyon type area, maybe a couple of hills in this area. It's kind of in the middle of the plains. as they're getting out of Colorado and coming through New Mexico. Okay, I wanted to zoom in on here and see if I could still see the railroad ties and the railroad. And I don't know if I see them. If they're not there, you can definitely see the remnants of a railroad line right there. Can't really tell, but it is a path coming through these hills and kind of a canyon area and hills. And anyway, it's a perfect, even if the railroad ties aren't there, it's a perfect path just straight through there. Look at that. Look how far they can travel through all those hills and little mountains. Even if the railroad isn't there, it's a perfect cutout path. It's perfect to travel. So I think this was a great idea to look into, a great theory to add on to the mini-series that I just had. Okay, now I'm going to focus in I-40. I just came off of I-40 a little bit, and we're not in the mountains anymore, but so they don't have the mountains on each side, but they could be traveling this at night, like in this area, and then find little places to hide along the way. I'm not seeing the railroad, but I think I see evidence that the railroad was there as we follow this. So that was just kind of an example. I'm just picking different spots. Okay, now we're getting over there. So we're following I-40 still. We're just now getting into the Amarillo area. So they're traveling across the plains here, guys. There's no mountains. It's going to be pretty flat. There's not going to be a lot of wooded areas, but they're here and there. There's going to be canyons. There's going to be old farmhouses to find along the way. All that kind of stuff. Here, I'm going to zoom in on a little wooded spot and take a look there. And see, look at this. They can travel right through here, and there's little wooded spots here and there. Even though we're not in the Rocky Mountains anymore, they still have these wooded areas. So this would be a great way to travel for the Bigfoot, because like we said, the trains aren't going to be going through. They have it all to themselves. It's a cutout path, and they have those sprinkled wooded areas. Okay, here's a shot of the Oklahoma City area and all the railroad systems kind of going southeast out of Oklahoma City. And I'm going to focus in on a certain spot that caught my eye. I'm going to focus in around the Shawnee area, and as I zoom in, you're going to see two old railroad lines, and one of them comes to a stop. So I kind of wanted to take a look at that and see what was going on there and see the accuracy of this map. I think these guys did a great job of putting this map together on Google Maps. I couldn't make this video without it. It made this video be able to be put together a lot faster having this map. So I'm seeing right here, it doesn't actually end. You can actually see the railroad still goes past their little marker line. And you can actually see a train car right there on that spot. And I'm going to keep going. And it actually hooks up with another railroad that's marked as an abandoned railroad. Okay, right here, here's an old train bridge. This is another way. I was looking around some different spots, and this is another way. If I see an old train bridge along the river, that's a good way to know that these are pretty accurate. Okay, right here, there's not a train bridge, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. I think what happened was, I think it's the other train bridge, so I'm not sure, and we don't see any remnants of a railroad track right here, but it is off a little bit. You can see right above the line, there is a railroad line, and you can see actually train cars on there. I guess this part of the track is still in use, but it goes to that other point, and it's not in use anymore. I'm not quite sure. These guys did a great job. This is where you guys can chime in and write comments to me and educate me on the old railroad lines, because I don't know enough about it. But I did like to zoom in and find those old train bridges, and that's another great point, is Bigfoot can cross a river on these old train bridges, on these old railroad lines that aren't used anymore, and they can cross the river that way. So I thought that was another solid point about this theory. how they could be traveling. Not quite sure why the map showed it ending right there, but I mean, obviously they did a great job putting this map together, and the purpose of this video isn't to point out that they did something wrong. I'm not here to do that, but I was just kind of questioning that spot, like what was going on there. So anyway, as we zoom around, we can see all these wooded areas that they could be hiding along the way. And I mean, the old railroad path follows wooded areas, so I mean, this was a perfect theory, a great theory. Oh, look at this. I'm zooming in on a intersection of the old railroad line and a power line cutout. I think that would be an awesome place to investigate, a place like that, an intersection of our travel paths that we're talking about. I think just kind of setting up a base camp at one of those for an overnight investigation would be a great idea. So comment me if anybody's interested in going out. You can't really see the railroad track through there, but it is underneath those trees, so perfect cover. And it goes along the river. It's kind of paralleling the river there, so it has the water resource. And we're just kind of following along here and seeing all these different wooded areas. So shout out again to the Red Dirt Cryptid Investigations Facebook page. They're the ones that gave me this idea for this video. And once again, I recommend that you go to their Facebook page and give them a like. They focus in on Northwest Oklahoma for their investigations. There's another old train bridge like I was talking about earlier. These train bridges, these old ones, would be great for a Bigfoot to cross a river in case it didn't want to get in the water. So I think that's like a really cool point, a solid point, and something that would be useful traveling these old rail line systems. And they're not going to have to worry about being hit by a train crossing the train bridge because these aren't in use anymore. So it would only make sense if a Bigfoot actually stumbles upon one of these that they would use these railroad systems. And since the Red Dirt investigation team kind of focuses on Northwest Oklahoma and Western Oklahoma, I thought I would take one more look at an old rail line system over in Western Oklahoma. So I'm kind of zooming in over here, and we're going to take a look at if they would have some hiding places as they follow one of these old railroad lines in Western Oklahoma. Now, as I was first looking at this, I thought these, like, I'm going to call these veins, these little veiny areas that look like veins. I thought these were rivers and creeks, and that's not necessarily true. As I focus in, these are just wooded areas. So there's a lot of wooded areas just kind of randomly sticking out here and there through this portion of Western Oklahoma. There you can see the railroad track. It is there. I like to double check, make sure we see some evidence of an old rail line, and we do. We see it. And I mean, just look at all these wooded areas through this portion. So it is possible. Those guys out there that are saying there's no Bigfoot in Western Oklahoma, well, I do agree with you. I don't think they live in Western Oklahoma. I don't think that. But I think they're traveling through. And I think it could be possible. And I mean, that's the whole point of all these little mini-series of videos that I've been doing, trying to prove that Bigfoot can be traveling through the plains from the Rockies to the southeast. And I think we've kind of hit on all the major points, and it's not just me, it's other people that have been commenting on the Squatch Ranger YouTube channel. I've gotten great feedback, like I said. I appreciate my viewers, and I appreciate your comments. Here's another wooded area. And I mean, you can just see the railroad system going through there. It's just really, really interesting. So I'd like to hear you guys' comments, maybe some new ideas of some different things to talk about. Yeah, you can see the railroad right there. There's evidence. And I mean, guys, they could be traveling through Western Oklahoma. I think it's possible. I'm going to zoom out. And I mean, I think if they travel at night, especially, this can be done without detection. And then they find a wooded spot in the daytime. They kind of bunker down. And they could travel north to south in Western Oklahoma. I'm kind of following the southern route now. if they're going southbound. So, I mean, let me know what you guys think. I like to hear what you guys think. Here's a water source that kind of is next to one of the rail lines. So they could be hanging out in that area. There's so many different combinations, and we talked about the combinations in the last video. It doesn't have to just be one source of transportation or travel. It doesn't have to just be the rivers or just be the railroads or the old railroad lines or the power cuts. It could be a combination. And guys, they don't have a satellite view like us. They can't just look down and have a map. It's just how they stumble across these areas. And if they're going back and forth, however often, seasonally or whatever, maybe they remember these certain travel routes and they take them after they kind of discovered them by accident. Maybe they're going to remember them for the future. So let me hear your comments. Let me hear what you think. Thanks for watching, guys.